Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Best English Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. Today, we have a very, very interesting topic. Have you ever watched a movie and thought, oh, I know these words, but I don't understand anything? Yes? This happens to many English learners. So, why does this happen? And how can we fix it? Stay with me for the next 30 minutes. We will learn step by step in a very simple way. But first, let me tell you a short story. When I was a student, I knew many words. I studied vocabulary every day. But when I listened to a real conversation, I was lost, like a cat in the rain. So don't worry, you are not alone. And before we start, I want to invite you to do something. Please share this episode with a friend who is also learning English. Together, you can listen and improve faster. All right, let's start with the first reason why your listening sometimes fails, even if you know the vocabulary. The reason is speed. Native speakers speak very fast, much faster than the voice in your textbook. Let me give you an example. In your textbook, you read this: "Did you eat yet?" But in real life, a native speaker will say, "Jeet yet?" What happened? The words disappear. They melt together. This is called connected speech. Connected speech means that words do not stand alone. They connect, they mix, they change. And your brain thinks, wait, I don't know this word. But in fact, you do know the word. It's just hiding inside the fast sounds. So remember this, it is not your fault. You are not bad at English. It is simply that you are not used to the natural speed. Now, let's make a small exercise together. I will say a sentence slowly first, and then fast, like a native. Slow. What are you going to do? Fast. What you gonna do? Do you hear the difference? It's like two different languages. Let's try another one. Slow. I want to eat. Fast. I want to eat. Yes, English changes when people speak quickly. So here is my advice for you. Don't focus only on written words. Start to notice the emphasis sounds. Repeat what you hear. Shadow the speaker. Quick tip. When you watch a series or a movie, don't just read the subtitles. First, listen carefully. Try to catch the melted sounds. Then, check the subtitles. This way your brain learns the strong, real English. And here's a question for you, my friend. When you listen to English, do you try to understand every single word? Or do you focus on the main idea? Think about it. Because if you try to catch every small word, you will feel tired, frustrated, and lost. But if you focus on the big picture, you will relax, and your brain will work better. So the first big reason why listening feels hard is because of speed and connected speech. It's normal. It happens to everyone. All right, my friends, let's continue. Now we arrive at the second reason why listening can be so difficult. The reason is this. Knowing words is not enough. Yes, you can know 1,000 words, 2,000 words, maybe even 10,000 words, but still, you listen and you feel lost. Why? Because English is not only single words. English is made of strong chunks. What is a chunk? A chunk is a group of words that always go together. For example, we say, take a shower. We do not say, do a shower. We say, make a decision. We do not say, do a decision. So if you only study single words, you will know take and you will know shower. But when you hear take a shower quickly in a sentence, you don't recognize it. It feels like a new strange sound. But if you study English in chunks, you hear it and suddenly it's clear. Let me give you another example. Imagine you learn the word catch. You know it means to grab or to hold. But in English, we say, catch a cold. This does not mean you grab a cold with your hand. It means you become sick. So if you only know the word catch, you will be confused when listening. But if you know the chunk, catch a cold, then your brain is happy. It understands immediately. Here's a little exercise for you. Think of one phrase you always hear in English movies. Maybe, how's it going? Maybe, what's up? These are not new words, but they are chunks, and when you know them, your listening becomes faster and easier. So, my advice, don't just write long vocabulary lists. Write strong phrases. Write full expressions. Practice them. Repeat them. Because when you know chunks, your brain doesn't need to translate word by word. It just recognizes the whole phrase, like one picture. And that is the secret to understanding real conversations. Now, let's talk about another very important reason why listening feels hard. The reason is pronunciation and stress. English is not only about words. English has strong music. It has rhythm. It has stress. It has melody. For example, listen to this sentence. I didn't say she stole the money. If I change the stress, the meaning changes. I didn't say she stole the money. This means someone else said it. I didn't say she stole the money. This means maybe another person stole it. I didn't say she stole the money. This means maybe she borrowed it. Can you see? The words are the same, but the music, the stress, the sound, they change the meaning completely. That's why sometimes you think, I know all these words, but I don't understand the message. It's because you did not hear the strong music. So here's an easy tip. When you practice listening, don't just focus on the vocabulary. Focus on the emphasis sound. Listen to the rise and fall of the voice. Notice the stressed words. Try to repeat them with the same rhythm. This is called strong shadowing. You copy the speaker exactly, not only the words, but also the sound, the feeling, the rhythm. Another tip. Close your eyes when you listen. Forget the meaning for a moment. Just listen to the music. Let your ears enjoy the sound of English. Like listening to a song. This exercise helps your brain to connect not only to the words, but also to the natural melody of English. So, remember this. If you ignore pronunciation and stress, you miss half of the message. But if you pay attention to the rhythm and melody, your listening will become much, much easier. Listening is not just knowledge. Listening is a skill. Think about driving a car. You can read 100 books about cars. You can memorize all the traffic rules. But if you never drive, can you be a good driver? Of course not. It's the same with English listening. You can know many words, you can study lots of grammar, but if you never practice listening, your ears don't know how to work. Listening is like training your muscles. When you go to the gym, you don't get strong after one day. You go again and again. Little by little, your body learns. Your muscles grow. Your ears are the same. They need exercise. They need practice. They need time. And here's something important. When you first start listening, you will not understand everything. Maybe only 30%, maybe only half. That is normal. But don't stop. If you continue, slowly your brain starts to catch more. You will move from 30% to 50% to 70%, and one day, you will understand almost everything. So don't think of listening as information in a book. Think of it as a sport. You must train. You must repeat. You must practice. And every small practice, even 5 minutes, is a victory. Remember this. Listening is not about how many words you know. It is about how much practice you give to your ears. All right, my friends, now that we know the main problems, let's talk about the solutions. Because listening can be trained. It is not magic, it is not a secret, it is a skill, and you can improve it step by step. Tip number 1, micro-listening. This means choose a very short audio, only 5 seconds. Listen again and again. At first, it feels boring. But slowly, your ears will catch the hidden sounds like gonna, wanna, didya. Your brain learns to recognize these small details. Tip number 2, shadowing. This is one of my favorite methods. Play a short sentence, then speak at the same time as the speaker. Copy the voice, the rhythm, the speed. Don't worry about mistakes. The goal is to feel the music of English in your mouth. Tip number 3, learn chunks, not words. Remember what we said before. Don't just study take or shower. Study take a shower. Don't just study make or decision. Study make a decision. When you practice with chunks, you understand faster in real conversations. Tip number 4, use real materials. Movies, series, podcasts, songs. Yes, sometimes they are fast, but they give you the real sound of English. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Relax, enjoy, and keep listening. Tip number 5, listen every day. Even just 5 minutes. Small steps every day are better than one big step once a week. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You do it every day, not only once in a while. So here is my challenge for you. Today, choose one short video or podcast, only 1 or 2 minutes. Practice micro-listening, practice shadowing. Repeat it many times. And notice how your ears become stronger. Remember, improvement comes from small daily actions, not from one big action. Great job, my friends! You are still here, still listening, and that means you are serious about improving your English. Now, let me tell you a small story. When I first moved to another country, I tried to listen to the news in English every day, but it was too difficult. I understood maybe 20%, and I felt frustrated. Then one day, I changed my strategy. Instead of the news, I started listening to one funny TV show, the same episode, again and again. At first, I only laughed at the pictures, but slowly, the sounds became familiar. And one day, without thinking, I laughed at a joke because I understood the English. This taught me something very important. You don't need to understand everything right now. You just need to choose something you enjoy and return to it many times. That is how your ears grow stronger. So here's a little exercise for you. Pick your favorite scene from a movie or series, just 1 or 2 minutes. Watch it today, then tomorrow, then again the next day. Don't worry if it feels boring. Repetition is not the enemy. Repetition is your best friend. Because every time you listen, your brain catches one more detail, and little by little, you go from 20% to 50% to almost everything. So my advice for today is simple. Find something you love, repeat it often, and trust the process. Your listening will improve naturally. All right, my friends, let's talk about something very important, the psychology of listening. Many English learners tell me, Sarah, when I listen, I panic. If I don't understand one word, I feel lost. Maybe you feel the same, and I understand because I felt this too. Here's a little story. When I was a student, I joined a conversation group with native speakers. The first time, I understood almost nothing. My heart was beating fast. I thought everyone was looking at me. I felt stupid. But then, something interesting happened. One of my friends told me, Sarah, just relax. You don't need to understand 100%. Focus only on the main idea. The next time, I tried this. Instead of catching every single word, I only listened for key words like work, school, weekend. And suddenly, I felt calmer. I didn't understand everything, but I understood enough, and that gave me confidence. So here's a small exercise for you. When you listen to English, don't fight for every word. Just write down 3 words that you catch, only 3. Then ask yourself, what's the main idea with these words? Maybe you hear restaurant, friends, Friday. Okay, the main idea is they are talking about eating out with friends on Friday. That's enough. Remember, understanding the strong message is more important than understanding every sound. So, don't stress, don't panic. Relax, enjoy the sound of English, and your brain will do the rest. All right, my friends, let's talk about something very practical today. How to build daily habits for better listening. Many learners think, I don't have enough time for English. But here's the secret. You don't need hours every day. Even 5 minutes can make a big difference. Let me tell you a story. One of my students, Ali, was very busy with work. He thought he couldn't improve his listening. But then he tried one small habit. Every morning, he listened to a short 2-minute podcast while drinking his coffee. At first, he understood very little. But after 2 weeks, he started catching more words, more phrases, and he felt more confident. So, here's a simple exercise for you. Pick a short audio, maybe a news snippet or a funny video. Set a reminder every day, even just 5 minutes. Listen carefully. Try micro-listening or shadowing for these few minutes. Another tip. Connect your habit with something you already do every day. For example, listen while brushing your teeth. Listen while making tea. Listen while walking to work. The key is consistency. Small daily steps are much more powerful than one big effort once a week. Remember, 5 minutes every day may seem small, but over a month, it's 150 minutes. Over a year, it's thousands of minutes of listening practice. So start today, even one short clip, and your listening habit is born. Let's talk about a very interesting topic today: how to use your memory to improve listening. Sometimes you listen to English and you understand some words, but after a few minutes, you forget everything. This is very normal. Our brain can only remember so much, especially when the sounds are new or fast. Let me tell you a story. When I first started listening to English podcasts, I could understand maybe 30% of what I heard. After 10 minutes, I forgot almost everything. I felt frustrated. Then I tried a simple trick. I wrote down 3 to 5 words I caught while listening, just keywords. Then I tried to repeat the story in my own words. At first it was difficult. I could only remember 1 or 2 words. But after practicing every day, my memory improved. I started remembering 5, 10, even 15 words from one short audio. Here's a simple exercise for you. 1. Listen to a short audio or a video clip. 2. Write down only the key words you hear. 3. Try to tell the story in your own words, using those key words. Another trick is strong visualization. When you hear a sentence, imagine it in your mind. For example, if the sentence is, "The cat jumped on the table," picture a cat jumping on a table. This helps your brain remember the story, not just the words. Memory plus imagination equals stronger listening. So don't worry if you forget sometimes. Your brain is learning. Use small memory tricks, and step by step, you will remember more and more. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes learners make when listening to English. Mistake number 1, trying to understand every single word. Many students think, if I don't know every word, I can't understand anything. Let me tell you a story. When I first started listening to podcasts, I tried to understand every word. My brain was tired after just 2 minutes. I felt frustrated and gave up. Then I learned a better strategy. Focus on the main idea. Catch the key words. Even if you miss some small words, you still understand the message. Mistake number 2, translating in your head. Some learners try to translate every word into their language. This slows you down. It makes listening harder and less natural. Instead, try this. Listen to English as English. Don't translate. Focus on the meaning, not the individual words. Mistake number 3. Ignoring connected speech and rhythm. Remember how gonna or wanna can sound different? Ignoring this makes real conversations confusing. So practice shadowing and listening to fast, natural English. Here's a simple exercise. Pick a short audio. Don't try to catch every word. Don't translate, and focus on the main idea. Write down just 3 or 4 key words. Then tell the story in your own words. Remember, listening improvement is about strategies, not memorizing every word. Avoid these mistakes, and your brain will learn faster and more naturally. Let's take a moment to talk about motivation and long-term growth. Many learners get frustrated. They study for a few weeks, then feel like they're not improving, and they stop. Let me tell you a story. One of my students, Layla, was very discouraged after 2 months of listening practice. She thought, maybe I'm not good at English. But I told her, Layla, improvement is like planting a tree. You water it every day. Sometimes you don't see anything. But one day, you notice the leaves, the flowers, the fruits. This is how listening works. Little daily efforts. 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow. Step by step, your brain becomes stronger. You start noticing words, chunks, rhythm. And after some months, you suddenly understand things you couldn't imagine before. Here's a simple exercise to keep your motivation high. Write down one short goal every week. For example, I will understand 30% of this podcast today. Next week, I will understand 40%. Celebrate these small wins. Even tiny progress is progress. It is proof that your brain is learning. So keep listening and trust the process. Every day you are getting better, even if you don't notice it immediately.